Hello, I'm Todd Hansen with Redhand Studios, and we're going to show you how to build your own camera stabilization rig today. You're going to need a couple of pieces of PVC pipe here of varying thicknesses. These are 1.25 and 3/4 inch. There's a pair of ratcheting PVC pipe cutters. Now PVC works better than the ABS. It's less bendy, more stable. That's a 6-inch galvanized steel nipple and a plate cap for it. That'll work as the camera weight. Counterbalance, several various couplers, and a 1/4 inch bolt that the camera tripod head that I've got will plug into, and I'll explain that a little bit more later on. It's important to dry fit all the pieces together first to kind of know what you're gunning for. I decided that this was a bit longer than I wanted. Those are 2 feet sections, so that makes it about 4.5 feet long with the couplers on it. So I decided to cut them down to a little bit longer than 12 inches. We went with 16 actually. Here we are cutting with the ratcheting cutters. It's easier than using a hacksaw, and you don't end up with as much burrs. Now these long pieces are going to be the main rail that the camera rides on, and then the T-bar will go to a thinner handle piece that you can hold on to. You can drape it over your shoulder, you can lock it around your waist so it's a little bit more stable. A little bit later on I'm going to show a comparison to shooting with a hand cam versus shooting with the stabilization unit. Here we are dry fitting the pieces back together again, making sure that they're roughly the right length. Now, these threaded male to female adapters allow us to break the unit down for easier transport later on. I decided that my cross piece should be somewhere in the 10 to 12 inch range, giving enough space to drape over a shoulder around my waist again. If you're shorter, or if you're taller than I am at 6 feet tall, or if you're a bit wider than I am at 180 pounds, you can of course adjust these measurements a little bit. I decided to go with a 6-inch handle on the end, and that is eventually going to get wrapped in pipe insulation foam and skateboard grip tape to give you something nice to hold on to. Now the threaded elbow at the bottom allows you to move the camera tripod head as you wish. Now we're going to use some epoxy here in a moment. It's a quick set epoxy, so it's a 2-part that you squeeze out of that little syringe, and you got to work with it pretty fast because it'll set up to absolutely useless to try and spread around in about 5 minutes, and then reaches full tensile strength in about 24 hours. But it's hard enough to hold these pieces of PVC pipe together, and it works better than using the PVC pipe cement by far. So here I am spreading the pieces together, joining them up and adjusting them so that they're in the proper alignment, assembling the 2 female to male adapters on the ends of the long handle piece, and then putting the short handle piece on the end of one of those T adapters, which will thread onto the longer handlebar. Then we're going to take the elbow piece, which is smooth on one side and threaded on the other. The smooth side gets the glue and fits in place, and then here I am setting it on the table so I can adjust the T-bar to the end piece that the camera is going to ride on. And then I'm going to take that 6-inch long nipple, galvanized steel nipple, and glue it into place. And again, that works as a counterbalance for the camera. That's a couple of pounds of steel right there. This is a plug cap that the 1/4 inch bolt is going to go through. Now you can drill through it, or like I did, I punched a screwdriver through it, a heated screwdriver. And then there's a lock washer and a large flat washer, a bolt and a nut. It's a 7/16 head on both sides, and about an inch and a quarter long, 1/4 inch thread pattern, so it'll fit in the bottom of my tripod. Now I picked up this tripod head cheap. Here I am showing you that the epoxy is no good anymore, so I'm using some Zap-A-Gap super glue. It's a void-filling cryocydolinic glue. It's really good for plastics, and it'll fill any voids, unlike normal super glue, which you can't have any holes anywhere or it won't bond. clean the lid off of the glue, otherwise you'll super glue your lid back on. There goes $8 worth of really nifty glue. Now this is a different tripod head that I've got, and it's a clamp system, and this is the tripod head that I'm going to be using. It's a multi-tilt with a 1/4-inch hole in it, which just threads right on there. If you have a different type of tripod that you've picked up at Goodwill or something that you're ripping the head off of, you might need to adjust your end piece here that fits onto the stabilizer. And here we are threading it into place, cranking it down a little bit. You might want to use some Loctite. It might be a little bit loose. You don't want that to fall off while you're filming, because your camera is a lot more expensive than this rig is. You should be able to buy all of the parts here for right around $20, and then depending on what you're using to glue it together with, $5 to $8. And here we go. This is what the stabilization rig looks like and is used for. This is a lateral position out in front of you. You should be able to see your viewfinder fairly well. Obviously I don't have the camera on it now because I'm filming myself holding it. You can flip it down and use it as a doggy cam. As you can see, it's balanced fairly well right now. You can adjust the weight by adding more metal plugs into the backside of it or into the T-handle there. Here we are using it as a periscope cam, using both hands to hold it, dropping it down for a belt buckle type camera, over the shoulder mount, holding it steady there, and you can see that I've braced it against my right hip, which allows for a little bit better stability in operation. Now you can see this looks okay. And here we go with the test footage. This is a standard just handheld with the Canon HV30, just walking at a normal clip, normal pace, opening up the door and going down onto the front porch and a couple of steps. And you can see there's a lot of shake and bob and wobble that's involved with a normal handheld shot. Even if I was to use my glide cam, you'd still see that. And here we are. This is my first test run using this, and I'm sure with practice I'll get a little bit better, but you can see that it's a smoother motion by far than just trying to hold onto it by hand. And this is where it's important to learn where the back of the camera mount is, as I close the door right there into that steel weight and vibrated it. But walking down the path, you can see the Metro and the Jeep there. They've appeared in most of the films that we've done. One of our neighbor kids riding his bike, and a smooth pan to the truck, following it back to the front door, and there you go. A little bit of rain just for effect there. You can see that this is not a shaky cam. This isn't the same sort of thing that you're going to see in the Blair Witch Project or anything, but there you go for $20 in parts, a stabilizer camera rig. Let me know what you think. Thanks.